Hello guys, welcome back to the Mind of Food, where love of food meets a love of learning. I'm your host, ATY. Have you ever wondered what makes spicy food so hot? Whether you like spicy food or you like your food to taste like baby food, one thing's for sure. The experience of having spicy food is very different from any other taste. And in this video, we'll explore what spicy food is, including its origin, the science behind hotness, its popularity, and why you might want to start munching on some jalapenos. Okay, first let's talk about the origin of spicy food. When we think of spicy food, we mostly think of chili pepper and maybe paprika, which originate from Latin America. These fruits, and yes they are fruits, were originally introduced to Europe following Christopher Columbus's discovery of the Americas. They rapidly spread to Southern Asia and Far East and Africa. Today, most of the chilies we eat come from one species, Capsicum annum, which was originally grown in Mexico more than 50,000 years ago. Now let's talk about how the hotness of food is measured. A scale known as the Scoville Scale is used, which uses a unit of measurement called the Scoville heat unit. So basically, each unit represents the amount by which a sample would have to be diluted before the presence of capsaicin, which is the active ingredient in chilies, could no longer be detected by most tasters. Just to give an example, cayenne pepper has a Scoville rating of 40,000 Scoville heat units, which means for 1 pot pepper you would need to add 40,000 parts water before you could no longer perceive the heat caused by the capsaicin. Now let's talk about the hottest chilies. The hottest chili used to be the Carolina Reaper, which came in at around 2.2 million Scoville heat units. But a new variety called the Dragon's Breath chili was grown, which comes in at around 2.5 million Scoville heat units. So the name Dragon Breath is quite fitting. In fact, if you ate one of these chilies unknowingly, you'd be in danger of anaphylactic shock, which is basically what happens when you have an allergic reaction. Your blood pressure drops and your organs don't get enough blood flow. So at this scale, chilies are more likely to be used as deterrents for repelling things like pests and insects. Let's talk about the science behind hotness. So we know the main compound responsible for the hotness of spicy food is capsaicin. It falls under the group capsicanoids and is actually a vanilloid compound. Another vanilloid compound is pepperin, which is actually found in black pepper. If you've ever chewed on whole black pepper granules, you would actually experience the same hotness you do with capsaicin, because these two compounds are actually very similar in structure. So try it right now. Just go and get some whole black pepper and start chewing on it. You'll feel the same burning sensation on your tongue. Okay, now that we know the main compound responsible, let's talk about the receptors of capsaicin. So capsaicin binds to VR1 receptors, which are vanilloid receptor 1s. So these receptors primarily detect heat. Like if you're drinking very hot coffee and you burn your tongue, they would detect that. But capsaicin can also activate them. So it's kind of like being in a locker room and having a key to your locker, but then your intrusive thoughts take over and you try and open up someone else's locker and it works. Capsaicin just happens to fit in the receptor. It leads to the depolarization of the receptor, which activates it, and a signal is sent to your brain, which is basically a heat signal. So the pathway for pain and temperature are actually connected, so you tend to experience both when you experience like a severe heat sensation. So yeah, capsaicin tells your brain that your tongue is burning, causing your body temperature to increase. So the taste of hot foods is therefore just the perception of pain and heat by your body, and not actually an actual taste like sweet or sour. Okay, now that we understand how capsaicin works, let's talk about how it rose in popularity. Did you know that 1 in 4 people on the planet currently eat chilies daily? Those masochists. I'm kidding, but on a serious note, if capsaicin gives a painful and irritating mouth sensation, then why do we enjoy it? After all, it's produced by plants to prevent being eaten by insects. Well, in countries where like very spicy food is not a staple like the US, eating lots of hot food can actually be a sign of masculinity kind of. So there are a ton of videos on the internet where that guys were eating very spicy food and try to act like they don't feel the burning sensation. So that's what I mean by that. So people who tend to be risk takers and sensation seekers are able to handle spicy food more than the average person. I mean, if you can kiss a snake, you can definitely swallow a few habanero peppers. Consuming chili peppers gives an endorphin hit, like when you go on a really long run. Believe it or not, your body actually produces endogenous opioids. Opioids are natural painkillers your body produces in response to pain. So you actually get a pleasant sensation after you've eaten spicy food. In cultures where spicy food is more common, like India, the hotness tends to actually enhance the flavor of food rather than being a signal of superiority. So then, why did we even start eating hot food? If we look back at early Mexican diets, they were mostly consistent of maize, so the addition of chili peppers served to enhance that dull flavor. In fact, researchers found that capsaicin actually induces temporary inflammation, which is like swelling in the mouth, which makes it more sensitive to other sensations like temperature, touch, irritation from things like salts, acid, and alcohol. To be honest, what's not to love about chili peppers? I usually add like them to my omelette in the morning, so I get to feel hot at least once a day, which is good for my mental. Okay, I'm getting off track now. So there's another theory why we eat chili peppers. Capsaicin kills bacteria that spoil food. So in the past, that might have been a way to preserve food, especially meat. Now, what are the benefits of eating spicy food? So first of all, peppers are a good source of vitamin A and vitamin C. Vitamin A is good for your eye health, vitamin C is good for your immune function, and it helps prevent scurvy. Spicy food also helps boost your metabolism and reduces hunger. It does this by actually raising your body temperature and your metabolic rate. Now, whether this actually makes a difference if you're dieting is not actually clear, but I will tell you from personal experience that if you're like on a diet and you eat chilies, you feel like you're burning more fat, but that might just be a placebo. Another thing with eating spicy food is that our taste receptors do become desensitized to capsaicin with time and increased exposure, so you get less of a burning sensation each time. So just like me every time I get my heart broken. So did I convince you to start eating hot food? If not, that's fine. There actually might be a number of reasons you might not like hot food. Factors such as genetics, personality, and cultural factors all play a part. In fact, some people are super tasters, which means they have a high density of taste buds, so they tend to experience a more intense burning sensation when eating chilies. Also, if you have a variation in your VR1 receptors that actually detect capsaicin and pain, then that might affect your sensitivity to chilies. Or maybe you're just not a masochist, that's also fine. So thank you for watching the video. If you find it useful, like, subscribe, and share it. And I'll see you in the next video.